very happy to welcome our Swami Vidyanandaji from the Cape Town Divine Life Society ashram called Ananda Ashram. And this ashram is in the line, of course, Gurudev, but in particular, Swami Venkateshanandaji, who was a direct disciple of Swami Shivananda. And the 29th of December is Swami Venkateshanandaji's birthday. And so we always like to honor his birthday by inviting one of his disciples, and the main one right now is Swami Vidyanandaji, to speak to us. And Swamiji gives wonderful talks. So we are really happy to have him and welcome all those who are here and watching online. Hari Om.
Must I start?
Yeah. Yes.
Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Dhyanamulam Guru Murti Pujamulam Guru Padam Man Guru Vakyam Mokshamulam Guru Kripa. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchidananda Murtaye Nishprapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. Om Sahana Bhavato Sano Bhunakto Saha Viryam Karavavai Tejasvinavadhitam Astuma Vidvishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, my salutations to Sri Gurudev, Swami Shivananda Maharaj, and the entire parampara of the Swami Shivananda family. And thank you, Swami Amrita Rupananda Mataji, for the very kind introduction. Of course, I'm not a direct disciple of Swami Venkateshananda. Mother Yogeshwari, late Mother Yogeshwari, and Swami Parvatiananda Mataji, who started our ashram. Of course, they were or are just direct disciples. I'm learning as much as I can along the path. Also with me here at the ashram are some of our friends. Some of you may recognize Vani Mataji, they were in the halo, and along with Santosh, and Priya Mataji. So they are here with me in the residence. Yes. I just want to make sure the timing for the talk, is it half hour?
Or? 45 minutes, Swamiji, and then if there's any questions. Or if if you want to make it 30 minutes, that's also okay, but 45 minutes is in the schedule.
Okay.
As you like.
Okay.
And then a little time for questions. Yeah.
Okay, yes. Thank you. I see it's a little different because the evening satsangs used to be for the retreat in the Samadhi Shrine, but now I see you have it in the hall at the auditorium. So very nice. Yes. So the topic is the liberating power of gratitude. I don't know whether I can speak anything about the liberating power of gratitude, the liberating power of it. But I'll share a little bit about gratitude. It's interesting because in my studies of Swami Venkateshananda's teachings, I have not come across anything at all where he specifically discusses gratitude. The word comes up in his talks and in his writings when he specifically thanks certain people. And there was one statement, one paragraph, where there's a brief discussion on gratitude, but other than that, nothing at all. And I've listened to hundreds of his talks because they were all recorded. And I went through our audio library and looked at all the titles, nothing. I searched the texts, word search, nothing at all. So very interesting. It seems that Swamiji did not really focus on this particular aspect of spiritual life in terms of giving a teaching. And in my own journey, at one stage, gratitude sort of was important to me because I felt I lacked it. And I wanted to learn more about it. And what was interesting in that process is that I learned that you can't learn about it. And I'll tell you why. In this process of wanting to discover more about gratitude, I came across a very lovely website called gratefulness.org. It was initiated by a Benedictine monk called Brother David Steinl-Rast. He was an Austrian man who became a Benedictine monk in America and became very involved in the interfaith scene in America. And incidentally also met Swami Venkatesananda. I found some photographs of the two of them together, but was not able to establish the context in which they met. And I once wrote actually to Brother David Steinl-Rast to mention our ashram and mention that I've got this photograph, but by that time the monk had got into, he was in silence, in retreat in his latter years, so I just got a friendly email from the organization. So I was receiving these daily inspirational quotes dealing with the topic of gratitude, because of course gratefulness, same as gratitude, is what this website is all about. And they have this idea that if there's gratitude in our hearts, it will be of a tremendous help in our spiritual journey. But what if I don't have gratitude in my heart? How do I bring about gratitude in my heart? This is the question. And after having received hundreds of these inspirational quotes, I can't say that there was any more gratitude in my heart, because not at fault of the great monk and his teachings and the various inspirational quotes they were sending, but you cannot, well, that's my experience at least, you cannot generate gratitude willingly, and you cannot do it through reading about it. This is the thing. So all this reading, all this learning, even now, we're having these satsangs and we've heard some wonderful talks as usual. Does this mean that suddenly there's gratitude in our hearts? Will this happen? Unlikely, unless of course we may have gratitude for what we're hearing. This may happen. When we experience the benefit of something, then there may be gratitude in our hearts. So, how is it possible to have gratitude when we cannot will it? Because I think that gratitude is something that you cannot will. I remember as devotees, senior devotees of our ashram, they used to have a saying, fake it until you make it. You keep on pretending you are grateful or whatever it is may be, and then it may be at one point it will actually happen. But anyway, it didn't happen to me. Sorry, I'm being personal in this talk, but it's the only way I can sort of tackle this topic. So how can gratitude come into our hearts is the question. Now, we usually say, if we hear somebody else moan and complain about their lives or about something in their lives, we often may say or attempt to say that they are ungrateful. But they themselves don't feel that they are ungrateful. What we mean to say really when we say someone's ungrateful, that they lack gratitude. And why do they lack gratitude is because they are possibly not seeing the whole picture. This is the thing. So now, when we are feeling unhappy about whatever it is that we may be unhappy about, it is quite likely that we are not seeing the full picture. I have this image in my mind. You're driving in your car and it's raining and your windscreen wipers are not working. You only see the rain on your windscreen. That's all you're seeing. And this is what happens in our relationships. Gratitude actually emerges in relationship, either to people or to God or whatever it may be. But for most of us, it will be probably with people. So we live with people. We work with people. I think most of us probably are in some way in relationship, either in your home or at work or both. And we often experience unhappiness in these relationships, very often very long-term unhappiness, sometimes decades of unhappiness. Sometimes if you ask somebody why they're unhappy and how did this unhappy relationship start, they won't even be able to tell you how it started. It just has kind of escalated and snowballed into this general unhappiness about a relationship. Husband is unhappy with the wife is unhappy with the husband, and children unhappy with the parents, and parents unhappy with the children, and so on, and colleagues unhappy with each other, students unhappy with the teachers, and teachers unhappy with the students, and so on and so forth. Why is there this unhappiness? This is the question. I'm unhappy. And I may even be in a relationship where actually there's not much going wrong, but there is unhappiness. Now, here is where I borrow from Swami Venkateshananda's teachings, because one of the things that he emphasized was that when you feel unhappy, there's usually an inclination in us to blame the outside world. We blame the other for our unhappiness. It is because you are doing such and such that I'm unhappy, or it is because you are not doing such and such that I'm unhappy. Often we are unhappy not only because of what happens to us, but also because of what does not happen to us. I'll give an example, maybe. Two people live together, and the one person loves to spend as much time as possible with the other person. But the other person, for them, that's not so important. For them, it is important to spend as little time as possible with you. They want quality time, not quantity time. Have a little bit of quality time, and the rest of the time, let me be alone. And then when we come together, we have quality time. The other person wants quantity time. Now, obviously, of these two, the quantity person will be the unhappy one, because the quality person will be the winner, so to say, in this match, in the relationship. Often our relationships become little battlegrounds. So now I'm unhappy. Let's say I'm the first person. I want quantity time. I'm using this as an example. So now what to do? I'm unhappy. Why am I unhappy? Because you don't want to spend time with me. So I'm unhappy. Is that why I'm really unhappy? Now Swami Venkateshananda would suggest that you look at this unhappiness. Turn the attention towards this feeling of unhappiness that is within you. This is the most important step. And this is true for anything, not only, we're now talking of gratitude, but this is relevant for anything really. Can we come face to face with the unhappiness that is inside of us without trying to justify it, without trying to analyze it, without trying to blame anyone, not even oneself, for having it, but to directly see and understand, what is this unhappiness that I'm feeling? I think it's because of, in our example, you're not spending time with me. So now I'm sitting alone, I'm feeling unhappy, and I'm looking at this unhappiness. Then, and this may take some time, you need time for this. You need to be alone, and you need to have a few hours in which you will not be disturbed, so that you can really deeply look into this phenomena of unhappiness, to see directly what it is. And what is very important here, Swami Venkateshananda teaches, that one should not analyze it. You should not try to understand the unhappiness by using concepts and words, even if they are borrowed from your guru. You have to be able to directly observe this phenomenon of unhappiness, a direct observation in which there is no thought. We have to come to a point of direct observation in which there is no thought. Now, you can't just stop thinking, as we know very well from our own experiences with meditation practice. So the mind tends to suggest an answer. One has to ruthlessly deal with these answers that the mind suggests, either by countering them or by ignoring them. One can say, no, this is not the answer, because the answer is not actually what the mind suggests. Then when the mind does become still and one's attention is fully on this experience of this inner unhappiness, then at some point the answer is given. Actually, what will happen, this is the first step actually, the first step that will happen is suddenly the image of what it is that you are seeking becomes apparent. Often we're not even aware of what it is that we want. I'm unhappy in this relationship because I think of it is because you don't want to be with me, but actually there is a vasana, a deep impression, a deep want, a desire. It's not superficial, it's deep-seated and often invisible, that is operating from the very depths of our being. We are absolutely oblivious of it. There are many, many such hidden vasanas in us that we are actually not aware of at all. They are operating, they are doing their thing, undercover creatures doing their thing, and we are not aware of it at all. But when we start paying attention, suddenly you see the vasana. You realize what the vasana is, and you realize that is the source of unhappiness. The source of unhappiness does not come from outside. And what is very interesting, when there's a complete and direct observation of the vasana, it dissolves. First it appears, and then it dissolves. Because it is a phantom. The vasanas that we carry are actually not real entities. They are thought patterns that we've created maybe in childhood or maybe even previous births, who knows? We don't know when they came into being. But when we see them clearly, they lose their power. And with that, of course, the unhappiness drops. Now, going back to our analogy of the windscreen being full of rain, it means at that point, because what usually happens in our unhappiness, we only see the rain on the windscreen. We only see the unhappiness and what it is that we're lacking in our example. Now, this analogy is that as if the windscreen has been wiped clean. There's no more rain. Now you see everything. So when this vasana in us has been destroyed, not by any will, just by pure attention, pure awareness, the desire, this vasana, this particular vasana has been destroyed, suddenly you see the whole of the relationship. Not only the part that we got fixated on. And suddenly you realize what you did not realize before, how much that person is doing for you. I didn't realize they were doing all these things for me. Why did I not see it? Because I was caught up. It was raining on the windscreen. My wiper's not working. I only saw the rain. I only saw the unhappiness. I only saw the lack. But I thought the person was not doing. And because I'm only seeing that, I'm unable to see everything else that is also taking place in the relationship. This is why we are ungrateful. We're not deliberately ungrateful. We are ungrateful simply because we do not see all the blessings that come in a relationship, all the things that the other person is actually doing for us. This is what we're not recognizing. But when that vasana is dissolved, then the lens, the inner vision, the mind, the vision of the mind becomes clear, and suddenly you see, oh my God, they're making tea for me, they're making lunch for me, they're doing this for me, they're doing that for me. They're smiling at me, they're talking to me from time to time, they are talking to me. So many things we suddenly realize what the other person is doing. And when we realize what they are doing for us, naturally gratitude arises in the heart. I've not done anything to stimulate or bring about gratitude. It was not in my mind. I was only focused on understanding sorrow. Sorrow that arises apparently in relationship, but actually it is on account of a vasana. So when that vasana is dissolved, the unhappiness dissolves, the vision becomes clear, suddenly just spontaneously we begin to see all that is being done for us. So much actually is being done for us. And there gratitude arises. And what is very significant, we no longer demand from the relationship. Because that's what we usually do. We don't realize we're doing it, but we're actually demanding. These vasanas, which are our desires, are also what we call expectations. We expect that the person should do like that. We have ideas, expectations of relationship. In a relationship, the relationship should be like this, like this, like this. I remember many years ago, I was traveling with a friend. He was complaining about some other friend. And he said, I'm always giving. They never give back. I'm not going to give to that friend any longer. Why? Because friendship is give and take, is it not? A friendship is give and take. I said to him, is it possible that your friend is not able to give back to you? And is it possible that you are receiving from some other friendship, but you are not giving back there or as much? It's quite possible that in any relationship, the giving and taking is not 50-50. Sometimes it's more on my side, sometimes it's more on yours, so on the other side. But the question is friendship or relationship a give and take? It is an expectation, an idea that says friendships are give and take. Maybe they are not. This is, again, an example. The concept is that friendships are give and take, and if there's no give and take, then there's no friendship. Maybe we have to examine this thing of give and take also. Maybe relationships have got nothing to do with give and take. When you realize that relationships are not there for the taking, you realize relationships are only there for the giving. And you give. And because I'm not expecting to get anything out of any relationship, naturally I'm grateful for that little cup of tea that comes. For the smallest thing, there will be gratitude. Why? Because I'm not expecting. And this is the one statement that I came across that Swami Venkateshwara mentioned. Where there's no expectation, there's gratitude. Where there's no expectation, there is gratitude. As long as we have expectations in our hearts, there will be no gratitude. Obviously not. You're supposed to give me that cup of tea. What need I be grateful for? That's your job. You're my wife. You must be my disciple or whatever. You must give me a cup of tea. That's your job. Have we not defined our relationships to such a degree that whatever it's like a contract, really? Our relationships have become contracts because we expect that others should do this because they're so and so and they're so and so, and our relationship is defined in such and such a way. And then you have a couple of people living together, and they all come with their own ideas of what the relationship should be like, and no wonder there's unhappiness. What if all expectation is dropped? I'm not expecting anything from you at all. Naturally, whatever little service you do unto me, there will be gratitude. I'll be thankful to you. Even if it is your job description in an ashram, for example, anywhere else too, maybe someone has got the job description of cook. They're the cook. So it's their job to cook. And so we take it for granted that that person must cook. It's their job after all. Well, why should I expect that they should and must cook? Why should they not take the day off? Why should they not relax? They are still making the effort every day to get up and cook. And I'm benefiting from this meal. At least I don't have to cook. I mean, for me personally, I'm always glad if I don't have to cook. Especially if I have to cook for others, because I feel very sorry for those people who have to, deal with my cooking. So someone is cooking for me. It may be their job description. It doesn't matter. I'm not expecting that they must cook just because it is their job description. And therefore I'm grateful for the meal that they've provided for me, the effort they've put in, the hours of work they've done. And so one begins to realize that everyone who lives with you, who works with you, who's part of the setup that you are part of, is contributing to your welfare. And you appreciate it, not because you've thought about it, because there's no expectation. This is the key thing. There's no expectation. And because there's no expectation, naturally we will be grateful for whatever it is that we receive from other people. So the thing is, we have so many concepts in our minds about what relationships are supposed to be like, how others are supposed to be like, and how we ourselves are supposed to be like. And we've never examined them. We've never looked at them. That is why we are caught in them. So what are we setting at? Now I am actually talking about liberation. Funny enough, I didn't think I was. But what is the liberating factor here? Is you're liberating yourself from your own vasanas. We are ridding ourselves of our own vasanas, our own expectations, which are the cause for our own misery. This is the thing. This is very liberating. If you have no expectation of anybody else, no one can make you unhappy. Because there's no one to disappoint you. Swami Venkateswarlu is saying, if you don't make an appointment, there cannot be a disappointment. The appointment being the expectation. Now, when I expect you to do something, I've made an appointment. Yeah. I'm expecting you should cook for me. So my appointment with you is at lunchtime. And I'm expecting the lunch to be ready. And then you haven't cooked, so I'm disappointed. If I've not made that appointment, that expectation, I arrive at lunchtime and the lunch is ready, I'll be grateful. If it's not ready, I have to make my own food. No problem. If I can't cook, I'll put some butter on a slice of bread and do the necessary. So the liberation, I'm not talking about God realization or anything like that. Being free of our own self-created unhappiness. That is what we can free ourselves of. I don't know whether gratitude is the cause for the liberation, but maybe they go together. As we liberate ourselves from our own vasanas, our own expectations, our own ideas, immediately gratitude arises. And gratitude, of course, is a very uplifting experience. My friend Santosh told me yesterday that in Latin, because gratitude comes from Latin, gratis, it means thankfulness, but it also means pleasant. And so great gratitude is a very pleasant experience. You feel happy when you're grateful. Your heart expands. Huh? We've all had, hopefully, some little experience of gratitude. Your heart is full. It feels expanded. You are happy. I mean, that's what most of us want. We might not even be interested in God realization. We just want to be happy. I think most people are on the path of God realization only because they want to be happy, not the other way around. We go on the spiritual path. Some Swami tells us, oh, if you get God realized, you will be happy forever. Oh, yes, I want God realization. Actually, I don't want God realization. Truly speaking, I want happiness. So the happiness comes from when we rid ourselves of these expectations. And in that comes gratitude, as we explained just now. And gratitude is, of course, a very uplifting, fulfilling, and happy feeling. Now, what happens in the relationship when you are a grateful person? You don't even need to say necessarily thank you. In some cultures, they don't use the word thank you. It doesn't exist. The word thank you doesn't exist in some cultures. That doesn't mean they're not grateful. What happens when you feel grateful in your relationship? You will, in some way, obviously, at least even just by the feeling of gratitude, bring a positivity into the relationship. You will bring love into the relationship. You will likely even serve the other person. Gratitude often leads to some kind of service. I don't know, sometimes we say it's a payback. I don't know whether it's necessarily a payback. It may be in some cases, but it could also just be you want to serve. Serve is also an expression of love and gratitude. You want to serve. So then you serve the other person. Not as a payback. I don't like this idea of payback at all. Never been into that kind of thing. But the love makes you serve. And of course, then the other person will also experience, hopefully, but we don't know, they may or may not experience that as a form of gratitude. This is, of course, very important. Again, in our relationships, I may become more grateful, and I'm not saying this now in an egotistical way. Maybe gratitude becomes something more important. Now I'm starting to expect that you should also be grateful. You should also be doing this journey thing of becoming more grateful. Expectation, you'll be very unhappy. You expect other people to be grateful to you. Square one, vichara, look at yourself, look at that feeling again, because there'll be unhappiness. So we're not expecting anyone to reciprocate gratitude. Gratitude is purely personal. We become more grateful, we become more loving, we become maybe more serving. But there's another aspect to this gratitude thing that Swami Venkateswara also has mentioned. Who is serving me? And this is the next question. Is it a person that is serving me? Of course, on the surface, it seems so. Maybe many people serve. We are getting so much from so many sources. But there's actually really one common source that is operating through all these different people that are giving something to me, that are helping me in some way, that are serving me in some way. And that actually is God. God is really the one who is serving me. It sounds almost egotistical. All the service is coming through God. So the gratitude then is extended beyond the personal to the so-called impersonal, which is God. Of course, you can also think of God as a person, as many devotees do. It is Jesus, it is Krishna, Rama, whoever, through whom are being served. Not as a master, of course, not in a servant kind of way, but I'm receiving all these blessings from God through all of these different people. So gratitude can also lead to that understanding that actually it comes from a higher source, which means to say, and this is I think what Swami Padmanabhananji was alluding to the other day, or directly saying, is we are being supported by the whole cosmos. Every single one of us is being supported by the whole cosmos. I was thinking about it after I listened to Swami Padmanabhananji's talk. He mentioned about agriculture. When people started doing agriculture, that is when the earth stopped blessing them. You had to now work for your vegetables and fruit before it was provided. This is the thing. Everything is actually provided for. We are being supported. We are being held at all times. Why? Because we're part of the whole thing. We're part of creation. We're part of God. Why should God not look after his own or her own creation, which is not separate from him or her? So this gratitude can lead to an appreciation of the cosmic connectedness that is there amongst all of us, through us, with us. And so then possibly their gratitude can lead to an appreciation of the divine, of God, and that may be the ultimate liberation, because then the mind gets focused on God. And many devotees, of course, feel gratitude towards God. That is one of the aspects of devotion to God, that one feels gratitude. This gratitude expands one's heart. Our heart should become as large as God's heart. That is probably real gratitude, when our heart becomes as large as God's heart. At that point, of course, we can appreciate that it is no longer about me. When our heart becomes as large as God's heart, it is not about me, it is not about what I receive, it is only about giving. St. Francis, in this beautiful St. Francis prayer, it is in the giving that we receive. I feel that the prayer actually says, not so much that when we give that we shall receive, but when we receive something, we feel happy and we feel maybe a certain fullness at that moment, temporary as it may be. But when we give, it is as if we are receiving. We will feel the same fullness. We will feel the same connectivity. So then we become givers. Like Swami Shivananda, his nickname, as you may know, was Givananda. You just give, 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 give. That's all we're doing. And without expectation of anything. This is, of course, the fundamentals of karma yoga. Not to expect. Expectation is a desire. So the journey of even just wanting to bring gratitude into one's life can maybe lead one towards a deeper appreciation and a deeper connectivity with the divine. And strangely enough, it starts, as I said in the beginning, with examining or looking into, directly observing our own unhappiness in relationship. And although that is the most unpleasant thing to do at first, and we usually shy away from it, yet that will be the liberating factor. Turn the gaze upon unhappiness itself. Try to see what it really is. And it is possible in that seeing that the cause for unhappiness, which is the images, the expectations, these vasanas, as use a general term, will dissolve. And you will be able to appreciate the relationships that we live in. We will appreciate them. We will see how much actually we receive, far more than we can give. we probably receive a far more than we actually can even possibly give. We're just not seeing it. But when these expectations drop, we will see it. And then, because you see it's coming from all corners, you realize it is the divine that is looking after you. And then, of course, one begins to feel grateful towards the divine. And then that will deepen our connection to the divine. It will deepen our connection with others, not on a personality basis, but on the spiritual basis. And then it is possible that we become givers. And the one who gives without expectation, I would say that is a free person. Swami Shivananda was a free person, busy in the world, busy running an organization, but only in the spirit of giving. He is free, a Jiva Mukta, who can give without seeking to receive anything at all. That is really giving and love. That is love. And in that love, which is a universal love, there is freedom. And it comes unsought. You're not seeking freedom, but it comes. Because that love, which is uncontaminated, is totally free. That giving, that service that is without expectation, is absolutely free. And this is so near us, so tangible to us, so within our reach. All we need to do is look within and discover all that which is holding us back. We are holding ourselves back. If we become aware of these images, these expectations, these vasanas within us, we can certainly free ourselves. And that is, of course, the purpose of yoga, to bring about that freedom. So these are a few thoughts that are, thank you for listening to these ideas. And we pray to Gurudev, Swami Vidyanandaji Maharaj, to guide us in this inner journey towards final liberation. Hari Om.
Swamiji, that was, as always, a wonderful talk. Inspiring, tremendous clarity, unique ideas, and really practical, useful ideas. So really, I think everybody here will be so grateful to you for this wonderful talk you gave. And I'm just wondering...
You are very clever.
I'm just wondering, does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask Swamiji? Robert. There is a question coming for you, Swamiji.
Okay.
He's just going to the mic.
Okay.
This is Robert.
Okay.
I was just going to ask a question about right view and wisdom. There's a lot we're unable to feel grateful because of the unfulfillment of desires and an expectation that the desires will be filled. But that's contingent on how we see the world. So a lot of people feel they're entitled to happiness in relationships or career or just having a good level of comfort. But if we look at the world, there's great suffering. Look at the lives of animals and how most people live. So can you speak on how a perspective of the world and reality, and that the world doesn't exist to fulfill our bodily and ego-based desires, how that creates a platform to uproot the vasanas? I was just saying it's all based on how we see the world, that we're ungrateful. Does that question make sense? Yeah. How we can liberate our
So, I hope I understand your question properly. So, to uproot one's own desires is this, as I mentioned earlier on, is this vichara. Swami Venkateswara calls it vichara. So, is it direct? So, when you're feeling the desire, you cannot immediately perceive necessarily. Normally, when we are in pain, emotional pain, when there's unhappiness, sorrow, that we are aware of, right? So that you investigate, you look into that to try and discover what it really is without thought. So this is important. There should be no thought. If there's thought, try to negate the thought and try to directly observe the sorrow. You have to be patient and do this for quite some time. When I say patient, it can take hours. Then at some point, it may happen that suddenly the sorrow, the content of the sorrow reveals itself to you in the form of some kind of image or so, and you will see what the desire is. When you directly see the desire, it dissolves. You are not making it dissolve. It is the direct seeing that dissolves the desire. Now, this you cannot make happen. You cannot think about it. You have to try this out. You have to try it out and see what happens. So the moment the desire is clearly seen, you see also, as an inner experience, you actually see that this is the cause of your sorrow, and it dissolves. And it's finished. And there may be other desires still to be dealt with. That can be done in course of time. But that particular desire can be dissolved. Did I answer your question?
Yes, that was part of the question about uprooting the desires. There was also a discussion on people are ungrateful because they have a wrong understanding of the world and have expectations and believe that the world is there to fulfill their desires. So it's based on a wrong view and an incorrect... of course, in terms of uprooting...
So that...
Sorry, go.
Carry on.
I was just going to say, in terms of seeing through the desire and it dissolving, sometimes we're caught in very strong and powerful emotions that can be hard to just use insight to break free from the grip of the desire. So what is required in that instance when we're something bad happens, say we get very ill or there's an accident or something tragic or we're deeply insulted and we feel a strong grip of emotions, how do we, in that moment, find a place of, in deep suffering or in the grip of strong emotion, find, say, perspective and find gratitude in that instance?
Yeah. So this reminds me of a question that was asked to Swami Venkateswara of a similar nature. I'm going to simply repeat what he said. If the emotion is so powerful that you can't do the vichara, then the only thing that you can do is blow it. Then the emotion has taken over, and of course it's not permanent. So in that moment when the emotion is really so powerful that we're not able to at all deal with it, then of course the emotion has taken over. That's simply the reality of the situation. Then we have to wait for it to settle. It will, of course, all emotions settle at some point. And then one can look at the whole thing when one is in a calmer state of mind. That, of course, will be more retrospective. Sometimes the emotion is still smoldering. And when it's just smoldering, then one can also do this vichara. I hope that is a slightly satisfying answer. So, but if it's too powerful, then we can't do it then. And sometimes, of course, circumstances are not necessarily always conducive. It's very busy around one. You mentioned an accident, you have to be active and so on. In that moment, one may not be able to do this inner work and bring about gratitude. What is very interesting, and I'm borrowing here from David Steinelrast, he actually says that it might also be that one cannot always be grateful for absolutely everything at a particular moment in time, maybe because our understanding is not complete. I don't think we, as I mentioned in the beginning, we can generate gratitude. Since then, it has to be spontaneous for it to be real and true gratitude. But what we can do, even if it is retrospectively, is take time to then go into it, and be introspective at a later stage. And who knows, in that introspection, we may come to certain insights, and then maybe one of the spin-offs may be gratitude, it may be some other form of wisdom that comes out. Sometimes I feel we are too impatient that we immediately want to be able to have these kind of spiritual qualities manifesting in us, because we like instant coffee and so on. So we're interested in instant enlightenment and so on. In some cases it has happened. For most of us, I think it's an ongoing thing. So as we are able to, we need to do this introspection. Otherwise, you must simply use other methods to at least try and make us calm and deal with things in this manner. What will happen, however, and this is an experience, I guess, and watching other people who've been on the path for longer than I have been on the path, is that gradually over time one develops the capacity to at least deal with situations a little better as we grow. As we grow spiritually, we may be able to deal with things in a better way. Maybe not immediately, but in time to come. So yes, I hope that was answered your question. If I didn't, please tell me.
No, you did. My question wasn't very clear, but you gave a very good answer, so thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Very kind.
Swamiji, a question? Omar, please come. I think you better go around.
Hariom.
Hariom.
Yes, Swamiji, my question is very straightforward, and I would like to know your opinion about what would be the components for a good life, a secular person, a daily functioning person. What would be the components, the basic components? Did I make myself clear?
I would like to, yes. So, to mind comes something that Swami Venkateswara shared about a Swami called Swami Purushottamananda, who was a contemporary of Swami Shivananda. He was a disciple of the Ramakrishna lineage. And he gave a speech once.
Swamiji,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, but due to the sound system, I would appreciate it if you could space out your words. Otherwise, they will overlap each other. It will be not possible to hear, to understand everything. Thank you.
Thank you. So I am merely repeating what a Swami Purushottamananda mentioned in a speech. And this is the main component. He said it 3 times. Sincerity, sincerity, sincerity. That is the only component that is really necessary for your life. in the context of our topic or any spiritual endeavor, if we're sincere about it, then we will progress. It doesn't matter whether it's a secular or non-secular life. Life cannot be divided into these things, actually. It's sincerity. Are we sincere about our spiritual life? About our life. Let's put away the word spiritual. Are we sincere about life? Do we sincerely want to lead a life of wisdom? Do we sincerely want to live a life of love, etc., etc.? Are we sincere about what we want out of life? And that, now I'm borrowing from Swami Venkateshananda, he looked at the word sincere. He breaks it up into sincere. That is, can we see that which is obstructing our endeavors? So I think this is the most important thing. To be sincere, I want to lead a good life, a life of wisdom and love. And can I become aware of that within myself, which is obstructing it? If this is there, then everything else that we want to do will manifest in our lives.
Is there room for another question? Swamiji.
Don't worry about it.
Swamiji, did you have the honor to have met Swami Venkateshananda personally, and if you could tell us something about him?
Unfortunately, I never met Swami Venkateshananda. He took Mahasamadhi in 1982 when I was 10 years old and did not know what yoga was. So I never met him. I met him only through this ashram where I live, which was started by his disciples. So somehow I have a affinity to Swami Venkateshananda, but I'm sorry, yes, I cannot tell you anything about from my personal experience.
The image is bursting into laughter with Gurudev. You know, they're laughing together. That's very nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful image. This was the laughing competition where Swami Shivananda said, the world is too serious. We need to bring some more joy into the world. So he said, Swami Venkateshan, tomorrow you and I will meet and we will have a laughing competition. And since Gurudev used to wear this big overcoat, he gave one to Swami Venkateshan, sat him down, and they cracked one joke after the other, taking turns, cracking jokes and bringing some laughter into the world. What does it mean for two saints to sit and laugh? What will be the impression in the world? So yes, it's a wonderful, I love those photographs. Thank you for mentioning them.
Myself, because it's Venkateshanandaji's birthday today, that just a few words. I was lucky enough to meet him in 1980 when I came here. He was here, and I think the following year as well, and I heard him speak. And he was a brilliant speaker, so clear. Swamiji was really a wonderful reflection of him as well. And I remember Swami Brahmanandaji said, because with Swami Brahmanandaji, we used to study Venkateshanandaji's books quite often, especially the Yoga Vashishta, daily readings. And I remember Brahmanandaji saying, Venkateshanandaji, he was a genius. And he wrote these amazing daily readings on all topics on Buddhism, teachings of Buddha, I think Christianity also, and the Yoga Vashishta, Bhagavad Gita, so many books, and so many others as well. So he was a great teacher. Not very many people here know him because he left, Gurudev sent him out quite early in the game. So he was in the West most of the time. Have we lost Swamiji? Did we lose you?
No, I'm here. No.
We didn't lose you for a few minutes. No, okay, good.
No. I was just appreciating your sharing, Mataji.
Yeah. No,
I always love hearing about Vedashananda.
Oh, and another thing. The other things, Swamiji, I remember. Swami Chidanandaji was taking us to South Africa in 1983. We were supposed to go at the end of 82. And then suddenly Swami Venkateshanandaji left his body in early December of 82, I think. And so our trip was postponed. And where we were staying, in the Divine Life Society in Johannesburg. And Jyotsna was wondering, is it okay for Swamiji to stay where Swami Venkateshanandaji left his body? And I remember Swamiji saying, it would be a great honor to stay in his room. So we were actually at that time, because that's where he left his body, in Johannesburg. And so everybody was kind of filled with the spirit of Venkateshanandaji. And we went down to Cape Town and visited, was it Yogeshwari? I can't remember now, and some of the disciples there. And it was a lovely time.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have these old memories, and plus his wonderful books as well.
And then Swami Vimalanandaji told me, because as you may know, Swami Vimalanandaji had that massive heart attack in the same bed that Swami Venkateshananda left his body in. And Swami Vimalananda was thinking, oh, Swami Venkateshananda is feeling lonely, he's calling me to join him. Since then, they've changed the bedroom into a boardroom.
Yeah.
They didn't want any more Swamis dying there, so they rather want to be in a boardroom.
Yes. Yeah. Well, is there any other question anybody would like to ask? Well, thank you again, Swamiji, so much for a wonderful, wonderful talk. I'm sure people will want to hear it again and again because there was so much practical knowledge also shared in your talk today. Really, really useful, really helpful. So good.
Well, thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for inviting me again to be part of it. It's such an honor, you know.
Yeah, when are you going to come here live? Why don't you bring a group again? You and Vanny, you come and bring a group.
There is a pot stirring and brewing, Swamiji, so it might be that I'll be able to come soon.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, great. Great. It'll be great to see you all again.
Yes, same.
And then you can give a talk live here.
Yes, and here again is our friends.
Yeah.
Here tonight. They might come along.
Yeah. Bonnie taught the yoga here for many years during the Christmas retreat.
Yeah. Back there.
So I think we'll say goodbye, Swamiji.
Yes.
Yes, and happy New Year coming up to all of you.
We also have our program to be celebrating Swami Venkateshan's birthday with puja and so on. So thank you so much for.
Yeah. Hari Om, Om Om.
Hari Om, everyone. Hari Om.